Good.
Good. Chad?
Yeah, Chad.
Hey, nice to meet you. Thanks.
You are undercover with Carol Evans' hidden cameras.
We won Best in Minneapolis 8 years in a row, now 9.
This contractor claims he's won awards as the very best in the business.
And now we've won the Minneapolis Hall of Fame 2 years in a row. It's for businesses that have won the best of more times than anyone else, and we've done it.
It just makes you so
Incredibly
angry.
disappointing.
Really shady
But
business
some
practice.
former
It's not
customers tell us it's fence post
even-
fiction.
He needs to stop it.
David Plante of South Minneapolis was looking to build a fence.
Just to enclose the backyard.
He signed a contract with Alpine Fence Company,
It says he's licensed, bonded, and insured.
a local business that's website appeared designed to evoke trust.
The large Better Business Bureau logo that says he's an accredited business.
So David gave Alpine's owner, Chad Thompson, a 50% upfront deposit.
$2,600. When I signed the contract, he said 3 to 4 weeks.
And this was supposed to be done when?
July
Of last year.
of last year.
David claims he's gotten a lot of excuses,
It was just one thing after another.
but there are 2 things he has not received.
No fence, no refund.
David asked Carol Evan to investigate, and a pattern of concerning discrepancies quickly emerged. Remember, Alpine's website claimed they're BBB accredited. Their contract makes the same claim in 2 places, and we found it's part of their sales pitch.
BBB certified? Okay.
But it's not true. The BBB's website clearly shows Alpine is not accredited. It was revoked in May of 2015. There's even an alert about the F-rated business.
Is that false advertising?
We feel it is.
BBB spokesman Dan Hendrickson says Alpine's use of their logo is not authorized.
It's just amazing.
Consumers like Joe Pavelko of Chanhassen say it tricked them into a false sense of security.
And obviously, if we would have known that he wasn't part of the Better Business Bureau, we wouldn't have hired him.
Wanting to keep his kids safe from falls,
You'll see it gets pretty steep.
Joe hired Alpine last August, but to date
No, nothing.
has received
Nothing but a pain in the butt.
it's a pain Sarah Scotland also feels.
Was told, return the signed contract with the 50% deposit, and we'll build the fence with it, 3-week time period.
Sarah gave Alpine Fence money back in 2014. Sarah, David, and Joe. They may be strangers, but they've got several things in common.
No fence.
No fence.
To this day, I still have no fence.
But not just no fence.
$750 about.
Out about $2,600.
$5,900, $6,000 or so.
The customers all say after numerous delays and little to no communication from Alpine,
It was past the line of unforeseeable and delays.
they decided to cancel their contracts and ask for their deposits back.
At which point he was very quick to get back to me and let me know that if I canceled the contract, it would be subject to a 50% restocking fee.
Their contracts have fine print saying if the customer cancels, Alpine gets to keep half the deposit.
Cancel the contract.
Sarah complained, and Alpine's owner Chad Thompson agreed to go to binding arbitration. The arbitrator found Alpine Fence to be unreasonable, trying to gain a payout for doing little to nothing. I'll let Sarah read the arbitrator's final finding.
It appears that the only effort made by Alpine was to sign a contract and avoid contact with the customer.
But Chad Thompson ignored the binding arbitration and still only gave Sarah back this check for half her deposit.
It's infuriating, to be frank.
Joe took Thompson to court over his deposit and won, but so far hasn't been able to collect a penny.
We want our money back, and we want somebody to look into this.
I have some subcontract crews.
Which is why Carol Evan is undercover,
Just tell me a little bit about your company.
to see if Alpine gives us an honest sales pitch.
Wanted to make sure I was just dealing with licensed and insured.
Yep. Licensed,
So you're good to go for here in the.
bonded, licensed, insured.
But the yard we're asking to have fenced is in St. Paul. Records show the city suspended Alpine's license way back in 2008 for lack of proof of insurance.
You do a lot here in St. Paul?
I've done a lot of projects here.
The Minnesota Secretary of State website shows Alpine's business registration is inactive, meaning they're not legally doing business anywhere in Minnesota. And all those awards he was bragging about,
Is that like Twin Cities Magazine or what is it?
The best of Minneapolis.com.
he says they're from a website we can find no record of.
It actually makes me want to go buy an award for myself but makes me the best of Minneapolis.
It was time to tell Chad Thompson just who he was talking to.
But you gotta tell you, I am a reporter with Care 11, and we got some questions for you. Because we have heard from a number of customers that you're taking their money and not building a fence.
It's not true.
But whatever Thompson's version of the truth is,
You don't want to stop and talk with us at all here.
he wouldn't stop and tell us,
How come you told me you're BBB certified when you're not?
leaving not just our cameras, but customers on the fence about whether they'll ever see their money.
So here I am waiting.
AJ repeatedly offered Alpine owner Chad Thompson a chance to sit down for an interview. He declined. Since we began investigating, Alpine has removed the BBB logo from its website.
Like I say, there's 50 different suites in here. I purchased it 2 years ago.
Jeff Peters will tell you, his customers think he's number one.
Absolutely. I mean, we get a lot of repeat clients.
There's no number two here.
We keep the place impeccably clean.
No small feat, given his line of business.
And when it comes to this business, good boy, people are very, very picky about where they bring their pets from.
So imagine his pleasure at finding this in his inbox.
Telling us that we'd been selected for the 2016 Best of Hastings Award. Oh yeah, we were really excited. We
Who
thought,
wouldn't be?
Hey, you know, look what we can display on our website, look what we can put up on our counter when people come in, et cetera, et cetera.
But excitement soon gave way.
And then the letdown.
To claim his award, all he needed was to pay $150.
We pretty quickly determined that it was a scam.
The Better Business Bureau even has a name for it. They call it the Vanity Awards Scheme.
Just an attempt to get money out of business owners.
BBB spokesman Dan Hendrickson says all across the country, small businesses are targeted with unsolicited emails notifying them they've been named the best of their community. All they have to do is pay up.
And never buy your own award. It's just, again, you're paying for a trophy with your name on it.
An award with no judging criteria, for which no customers voted, and the websites usually disappear quickly. Case in point, the Best of Hastings website sent to Jeff at Rio Grande Boarding. Watch what happens when Dan tries to pull it up.
Website's gone, says the resource cannot be found. These awards, especially in a case like this, are nebulous and likely worthless.
Worthless awards that, when advertised by a business, can trick customers like David Palante into a false sense of security.
He was voted Best of Minneapolis.
His tip about a Best of Minneapolis award earlier this year led to a Care 11 hidden camera investigation into a fence contractor making a number of highly questionable claims.
We won Best of Minneapolis 8 years in a row, now 9, because we just won.
Including that he'd won awards as the very best in the business.
And now we've won the Minneapolis Hall of Fame 2 years in a row. Just for businesses that have won the best of more times than anyone else, and we've done it.
Is that like Twin Cities Magazine, or what is it?
It's the best of Minneapolis.com.
But that's a website we can find no record of. What we found is a contractor who lost his license in St. Paul years ago for lack of proof of insurance, an inactive business registration with the state, and despite claiming to be BBB accredited,
BBB certified? Okay.
is in fact F-rated with no accreditation. Not exactly credentials you'd expect from a company billing itself as the best.
It actually makes me want to go buy an award for myself, but makes me the best of Minneapolis.
Now, there's an idea. Let's try it using the award program that contacted Rio Grande Boarding.
And order a plaque for $150, a crystal award for $200.
We just need a business name, something with a ring. How about AJ's Watchdog Services? Give them my credit card info and wait to find out if I too have what it takes to be the best. A week later, look what came in the mail at Care 11. My very own award. AJ's Watchdog Services is the best of Hastings for 2016.
Clearly deserving.
There's even a press release I can put on my website honoring the achievement.
I think these guys are making out like bandits selling plaques.
Don't mind Jeff. Maybe he's just jealous that his business now has competition as the best of Hastings. He thinks I could have simply bought my very prestigious award a lot cheaper at a local trophy shop.
I know one over in St. Paul would probably do the plaque for $50.
So clearly we had a little bit of fun with this. We did repeatedly try contacting the group offering the awards with questions. All of our emails went unreturned. Now the BBB warns strong ethical businesses should refrain from advertising these so-called vanity awards, and for consumers, take that claim of best of with a big grain of salt. And Julie, I know you're really jealous about my very prestigious
go
award
buy my
here.
own as soon as this show's over.
There you go.
And maybe you could make room for that next to your big investigative reporting awards that you
I think we
won.
should put this right in the trophy case here at Care 11.
Next to all the Murrows.
Exactly.
Thank you, AJ. Tonight, a consumer investigation into restitution. Even with a court order, crime victims are not getting their money back.
Care 11's AJ Legault shows us how Minnesota's legal system is failing.
I invited him into my home.
If only Renee Zorn had known the hassle she just welcomed in the front door of her Dakota County home.
Here's a portfolio of some of my work.
The floor sanding contractor said his name was Jamie Laney, and his company,
Hardwood Floors by McCormick,
had been around for more than a century.
said it was a family-owned business.
None of that was true, as Renee would learn the hard way after she hired him.
Signed the contract, wrote a check, and never saw him again.
Despite never coming back to do the work, the check was quickly cashed, but not exactly as Renee had written it.
He changed your check.
He changed my check, clearly, L-E-Y-N-E. And then this is what was cashed, L-E-Y-H-E.
Jamie Leahy.
It won't be pleasant.
That's a name Kelly Latendra will give you an earful about.
I will try and keep it clean.
Her story is the same as Renee's, a contractor hired off Craigslist, this time using the business name Wood Floor Doctors.
I fell for it hook, line, and sinker.
In both cases, Jamie Leahy, that's his real name, but he has a long list of aliases and almost as many mugshots, was convicted of theft and ordered to pay restitution.
How much money have you gotten back?
0. Not a leg.
Ditto for Renee and her husband Stacy.
They convicted him and he was ordered to pay us restitution, and again, we haven't seen a dime.
We heard those voices from the victims saying, I'm not getting my restitution paid.
Suzanne Elwell is with the state's Office of Justice Programs. In 2013, she led a working group that the Minnesota legislature ordered to study restitution for crime victims.
It's very complicated.
For a full year, they examined the issue. Their findings, a patchwork of approaches, inconsistencies spanning all parts of the process, a statutory framework that is cumbersome, confusing, underutilized, and disregarded.
That doesn't paint a very rosy picture for victims hoping to get restitution.
Many victims are being paid, but yes, we have a group of victims who are not.
How many? An analysis of 2010 state court data shows 4 years after sentencing, less than 50% of criminal restitution ordered was actually satisfied.
So it sounds like some counties and cities do it one way, others are doing it another way?
Exactly. Procedures differ all over the state.
I lost $1,300 in this scam.
What that means for crime victims like Kelly is the degree of success in collecting restitution from crooks like Jamie Leahy depends a lot on where you live.
I'm not being protected. These other people aren't being protected. The government has failed its job in that sense.
In January of 2015, the state group studying restitution problems came up with a long list of suggested fixes. But as is often the case, the wheels of justice turn slowly.
So today, none of the recommendations that you made have been enacted or taken action on.
But in terms of a statutory initiative, no, we haven't gotten anything passed just yet.
They're shooting to have a proposal before the legislature in 2017. But it's not only criminal court where defendants like Jamie Leahy, just sentenced to prison for fleeing police in this high-speed chase,
over 100 miles per hour,
and giving officers yet another false name,
that was stupid,
are not paying those they've wronged. The civil side of court can be just as frustrating for victims trying to collect, as Allison Schnazy is learning.
I paid them my money and they never built me a fence.
Allison got a $4,300 civil judgment against a man who's no stranger to Care 11 Investigates. Chad Thompson of Alpine Fence.
BBB certified? Okay.
That's just one of several untrue claims our hidden cameras caught Thompson making earlier this year.
How come you told me you're BBB certified when you're not?
And there's a long line of customers who say he took their money but built nothing.
No fence.
No fence.
To this day, I still have no fence.
Binding arbitration and civil judgments have been largely unsuccessful in getting Thompson to pay back all he owes.
We went to small claims court, judge ruled in our favor, and now we're trying to collect.
Easier said than done. As Joe found out, there's no entity that enforces civil judgments. It's up to the victim to collect. That's why the Zorns haven't even bothered going the civil route.
Because they don't really pursue it.
Civil or criminal, victims in Minnesota claim a court order for restitution is often not worth the paper it's printed on.
No one will do anything about it. I mean, we have a conviction. We have letters saying, yes, you're entitled to your money back. I call every month, okay, what can I do? Nothing.
This 19-page complaint was just filed. It accuses Alpine Fence and its owner, Chad Thompson, of fraud and violating Minnesota's consumer protection laws.
How you doing? Good. Chad?
Yeah, Chad.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Carol Levin took you undercover back in May for a meeting with Alpine Fence Company's owner, Chad Thompson.
Just tell me a little bit about your company.
Okay, Alpine Fence, I started it myself in '97. I'm the only owner, and our work is guaranteed for life.
That would be great, but a number of customers told us despite giving Chad Thompson a lot of money,
$750 about.
Out about $2,600.
$5,900, $6,000 or so.
he never did any work.
No fence.
No fence.
To this day, I still have no fence.
And never repaid all the money.
We'd like to see people paid back. We'd like to see him fined. We would like to see him enjoined from being able to do this to other people.
Minnesota Attorney General Lori Swanson took notice and now is taking action.
According to the complaint that you filed, you believe there were actual illegalities in this case?
We do. We believe he's violated the consumer fraud laws, the deceptive trade practices laws. We have laws on the books that basically say, you know, don't lie to consumers when you're doing business with them.
The Attorney General claims Thompson tricked people by claiming to be part of the Better Business Bureau. It was on his website.
The large Better Business Bureau logo that says he's an accredited business.
On his contracts and part of his sales pitch.
BBB certified?
Yeah.
Okay.
But as we exposed at the time, it's not true. The BBB's website clearly shows Alpine is not accredited. There's even an alert about the F-rated business.
Your complaint uses some pretty strong language: deceptive, fraudulent, unlawful. That's what you found?
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's consumer fraud that he and the company are engaged in. We want to stop them from doing it to other people.
But you got to tell you, I am a reporter with Care 11, and we got some questions for you because we have heard from a number of customers that you're taking their money and not building a fence.
That's true.
Back in May,
you don't want to stop and talk with us at all here.
Thompson wouldn't talk with Care 11.
How come you told me you're BBB certified when you're not?
He'll now have to talk in front of a judge.
Thompson has 20 days to respond to the lawsuit filed by the Attorney General. Swanson says any additional victims out there should contact her office.
A local nonprofit is happy today that the Minnesota Attorney General is taking action. It comes in the wake of a Care 11 investigation that exposed a fence contractor taking people's money and never showing up to do the job. AJ Legault looks at their story, one that's familiar to other people who did business with the same contractor.
I don't know how you sleep at night.
That's the question Tabitha Leeds has for Alpine Fence owner Chad Thompson.
Okay, Alpine Fence, I started it myself in '97. I'm the only owner.
Care 11 featured Thompson in a hidden camera investigation earlier this year after customers like Joe Pavelko claimed he took their money and in return gave them nothing.
Nothing but a pain in the butt.
Leeds is the business manager for the nonprofit Women of Nations.
We're a 44-bed domestic violence sexual assault shelter.
Because of their sensitive work, we're not disclosing their location.
Having a privacy fence is really important.
Leeds tells us they too had Chad Thompson of Alpine Fence take their money, never to be seen again.
$5,387.
Yeah, we filed a lawsuit against the company.
Minnesota Attorney General Lori Swanson just filed a lawsuit on December 7th against Alpine Fence and Chad Thompson, accusing him of deceptive, fraudulent, and unlawful behavior. The shelter is listed as one of the victims.
We've sued him, and we want to get a judgment against him. He was, the perpetrator of this ruse.
But you got to tell you, I am a reporter with Care 11, and we got some questions for you because we have heard from a number of customers that you're taking their money and not building a fence.
That's true.
That's all Thompson has ever been willing to say. But his alleged victims, including a shelter for women and children, will give you an earful.
When I kind of do the things that I do in my life, I always think about if I had to explain it to my grandma. And I'm like, how do you explain that to your grandma, right? Like, yeah, so.
Ed Thompson asking him to respond for this story. So far, he has not gotten back to us. Randy?